Hi, I'm Dennis Hanson, and this is my... I've had my bike kind of torn apart for a little while, doing some work. If you follow my channel, you know I just replaced the speed sensor. Also put in a manual switch for my cooling fan. So I'm ready to start putting it back together. And first thing I want to do is I want to prep this area, make sure it's ready to put the air box back in. Now I did run into one little problem when I was doing my was taking it apart. There's a corrugated hose that says to the fuel regulator and to the ECM, and the fitting that goes on here that goes into the air box was completely dry rotted. So I did come up with another solution, but I do want to talk about all the hoses that are specific for the Speed 4, because I did find a little bit of variance between that and the TT. Okay, so here's the air box. This is the left side, of course. This first outlet is for a drain hose. And it's kind of a smaller, I'd say it's like a 3/16, probably size hose. This next one is for the idle air control valve. The next one is a breather hose. This outlet is capped, and it's always been that way. This one right here is it's to a temperature sensor. And this last one is the one that goes to the fuel pressure regulator and the ECM. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to run this hose. It's the corrugated hose, and it goes, actually, if you look at your ECM, there's a little hose on the right hand side. And so what I have to do is I have to connect it to that. What you need to do then is you need to get, what I'm going to do, I'm going to make a transition piece that goes in between those two and seal it with heat shrink. So to kind of get started with that, what you need to do is you're going to have to loosen up this little reservoir here, and you're going to have to move some of these bundles of wire around because you're really working in a tight little spot here. You can see that's the hose. And what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to get that first, fix that. I have to fish this thing up there, and then I'll tie that into the air box. Okay, the easiest way I found to work on this to get these two cables out of the way, these bundles. The little trick on this is there's a button here. You push this down, and then this will flip. Pull it all and open it up all the way, and then just pull it. So I've got my corrugated hose fished through there. Got everything pretty much out of the way. Also undid my taillight wire. So this is where I need to join them, and I'm going to pull that back in a minute. But I did want to show you the material I'm using for my transition piece. It's 5/16 fuel hose, and that's actually what I found on it when I took it apart. So, and that also works real good at the air box. So I cut a piece, it's about 1 3/4 inches. You don't want to really have too much in there because it's pretty cramped, everything, all these cables and stuff going in there, so you want to keep this as small as you can. Okay, so there's the piece. I was going to heat shrink it, and the piece is so tight on here, and it's pretty tight on there, and I don't really see the need to do that. So I'm just going to put all this back together. So everything's put back together. Got this corrugated line routed. I don't think it's going to interfere with too much. And I'll probably push that down a little bit. But ready to do the transition piece. Alright, so I'm going to put this hose on this outlet of the air box, and I'm going to put the whole piece on, because if you try to put on a little piece, it's pretty hard to jam it in there. I want to put it all the way to the top so I don't have to use a clamp. Alright, so I've got that all the way on there, and it's flush with the edge of the air box, and I'm just going to cut off a section, maybe like that much. So that's what I can put the corrugated hose into. Alright, so what I did is I cleaned all these boots just a little bit before I put them on the throttle bodies, and I just clean them with a nice microfiber rag, a little water, let it dry out. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to apply a thin coat of silicone grease. This is like dielectric grease, and just to keep everything so it slides. Another thing you want to do is clean up these boots, go between the snorkels and the air box. So I've got all the hoses in place, got all the clamps pretty much snugged up to where they're good. Okay, so got the air box back on. The only thing I got to do now is get the gas tank back on, put a little bit of the plastic back on. Should be ready to go. But I hope this is useful to somebody if they're first time getting that air box off. It's really not too tough, but it is a little different than what the TT600 manual says. So, thanks for watching.